Kia ora, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news policymakers are still struggling with the last mile gains in their war on inflation. But first, the number of Americans making initial jobless claims rose last week, and by slightly more than was expected. And their Philly Fed factory survey rose sharply to its best level in 4 months, driven by new orders. The outlook for the next year there was especially positive. And Japanese exports rose to a 3-month high in June, a much better outcome than anticipated. While not a record, these exports are at an historically high level and are only bested by 2 previous months in the past year. They are up more than 5% year on year and delivered a surprise trade surplus. That is mainly because energy costs no longer swell their import bill. And India's central bank is turning its attention away from supporting breakneck economic growth to controlling inflation. They signalled this in a bulletin released yesterday. And the ECB monetary policy review overnight delivered no change to their official interest rate settings. They are holding their restrictive policies because inflation pressures remain and wage gains seem to be driving those. In Australia, their employed workforce expanded by 50,000 in June to 14.4 million. Their jobless rate rose marginally to 4.1%, and their participation rate is still hovering around 67%. And container freight rates were little changed last week, but that is of little comfort because they're staying almost 300% higher than year-ago levels. The usual factors remain in play, although the Panama Canal water levels are recovering and back to their 5-year average levels. Bulk cargo rates are little changed from a week ago, although they did rise mostly in between before retreating yesterday. And the US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.19% and up 5 basis points from yesterday. And the price of gold will start today up $2 at $2,455 an ounce and still hovering near its all-time highs. And oil prices are up 50 US cents at just on $82 a barrel in the US, while international Brent price is just over $84.50 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar starts today little changed at 60.6 US cents. Against the Aussie were also little changed at 90.2 Australian cents. Against the euro was still at 55.6 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at 69.4 and essentially unchanged from this time yesterday. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again on Monday.